Hello and welcome to Walk the Pod, your daily walking show where I take my podcast for a walk because I don't have a dog. Welcome to series 56 on the theme of enough! Exclamation mark. A series in which we're going to be talking about what enough means and how we can think about it in order to be happier, to be more relaxed, to be less forward in our leaning and striving, or it might teach us something completely different. Who knows? At the beginning of the series it's very difficult to know where we're going to go, but today I want to bring you a story from Robin in New Zealand about how to foil any sales technique. It does require you to decide that you have enough of everything that you could need in your life, and that perhaps is the really difficult bit. So there's the way to get out of being sold something, and then there is the real deep work of deciding that we have enough already. Thank you very much. Welcome to the first episode of this new series. It's Walk the Pod.
G'day Rach, it's Robin in New Zealand talking to you about 9:15 on Wednesday the 23rd. I've got the day off because we have our Anzac Day, which is like our War Memorial Day on Friday. Monday was a holiday, so a lot of people like me took the 3 days between to make a week of it. It's a lovely sunny morning after a pretty stormy few days. And I'm standing looking at the local duck pond, which is also stormwater management pond, so it's, instead of being clear, it's quite muddy. Doesn't seem to worry the ducks. Just thinking about the concept of enough, an old story, and you'll hear how old when I tell it, which taught me about the power of the word enough. Years ago I used to work for a shop fitting company which made some furniture, and we used to go to a home show, like a big exhibition in the showgrounds, to sell some of that. And one year the stand opposite was Encyclopedia Britannica, when they were still a thing, selling paper books. And I watched them marketing for a few days, and it got me interested in how they did it. So I got a book out of the library which sort of went into the mechanics of how they marketed their product, and the psychology of using things like guilt and parents, worries about their children's future, and if they didn't have these encyclopedias, how would they ever know anything? And one of the lessons I got out of that book was how to effectively foil pretty much any sales technique, is just to say you've got enough. And if someone says, we can save you money, you go, no, I pay enough. Or you need to buy this, and you go, no, I've got enough. It completely foils most sales techniques because they just don't have an answer for that, because people, do you want to earn more money? No, I've got enough. It just doesn't work. So I think enough is a powerful concept in material terms as well as sort of psychological terms, and it also helps you think about what is enough. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your take on this series and where it goes. See you later from a nice morning in New Zealand.
Thank you, Robin. Always nice to hear your beautiful voice, and thank you so much for getting in touch the week before the series started with your thoughts on the topic, which allow me to put your anecdote and your lovely thoughts on enough into the very first episode. Very grateful to you indeed. And thank you for your thoughts on the Encyclopedia Britannica, which I've been thinking about since you left me that voice note. I'm thinking about the encyclopedia that I was aware of as a small person, but had no idea that there was quite such an active sales force involved in selling it, using all the tricks in the book, and indeed many companies used all the sales tricks in the book. And still do, of course, to sell us things. And I guess what they're really hoping for is to meet lots of people who are striving to be more than they are at the moment. And so those who say, no, I've actually got everything I could possibly want, thanks very much, they've got very little to offer them. But perhaps it's very unusual to meet somebody who's prepared to say that they actually have everything they could possibly want. I've been reading a book called Enough by somebody called Laurie McCammon, and I'm afraid I don't know very much about Laurie McCammon, but the book is called Enough, and it links together some quite interesting ideas, including a longitudinal study that took place in the US between the 70s and the 2000s, in which the researchers discovered that of the people they were looking at, who were almost entirely men, it has to be said, but of those people, power and money and the accumulation of both of those things were not as influential on their eventual happiness as you might think. It's tempting to think that people who have lots of power and lots of money are therefore happy. But this study showed that actually it is close relationships that are the determinant of a long and happy life. And so more love and more connection is perhaps the thing to go for, rather than more money and more power. That's where we're kicking off the series, and I've also put some journal prompts into the Patreon community chat, and as a standalone episode that was released before the series started. So if you want to have a listen to those and do some journaling on when you felt you had had enough of something and how it changed how you are, do feel free to do that. There will be some more journal prompts as we go through the series, because that's not the only thing I want to explore as we talk about Enough, but it's a good place to start. What can I see directly in front of me? Well, I am in the park, and I have to say, dear friends, I've been making this podcast for nearly 5 years now. The bit about reconnecting to nature through walking is the bit which I feel is the real thing that I've learned along the way, as Child One would say, in making this podcast. The thing that I've learned above and beyond everything else on all the different themes that we've looked at is that reconnecting with nature through getting out for a little walk in the middle of the day is by far the greatest and most sensible decision that I think I have put into practice in my own life. It really helps to leave the work email inbox for a few minutes just to get out and stretch the legs. It really helps to reconnect with the sky, the trees, and nature. Remind ourselves that the world still turns, no matter what the stress and anxiety of the morning brought. So that is as restorative today as it ever is. I can see pigeons in the park and a small tot in a red t-shirt chasing after them. They are fluttering and flying as it chases them relentlessly around. And after the small person is a parent attempting to keep them under control. I had a rumour earlier today that the 16 pets as therapy dogs that help out in the hospital were on a lunchtime walk today. So I've been keeping my eyes peeled for them, but I don't see them at the moment, and I don't know where they walk, so I may have to do a bit of digging to find out where I can serendipitously meet up with the pets as therapy dogs on a lunchtime, because I mean that would cheer things up no end, wouldn't it? Imagine running into 16 dogs in little pets as therapy vests on a lunchtime walk. That would be quite wonderful. There is a Please Give Blood lorry in the distance, because we're right next to the blood donation centre. And it's absolutely beautiful. The most beautiful day in the world, you might say. Beautiful blue sky, white fluffy clouds, everything. Sun filtering through the leaves on the trees. It's absolutely glorious today, dear friends. So if you do have a chance to step out at lunchtime just for a few minutes, please do so. Reconnect with nature. Remind yourself that the world still turns. Put some stress and anxiety into perspective. And you'll thank yourself later. Thank you for walking with me, dear friends. It's been an absolute delight to stretch my legs with you this lunchtime. It puts a huge smile on my face to be back with another series for you after a little bit of time away. Thank you for walking with me. Thank you for listening. Take care of your beautiful mind, and I'll be back with episode 2 tomorrow.